Alrighty, looks like we're doing all good. You guys know the drill. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Checking all the technicals and making sure we're good to go. Hope you guys had a great long weekend and Labor Day treated you guys well. I know some of you guys worked yesterday, but some of you guys were not working yesterday. But overall, I hope you guys had a great Labor Day. Awesome. Just double check it, make sure we're all good to go. Awesome. Minus Discord real quick. Awesome. Alrighty, guys. Cool. We're about to get started. Welcome back to MTVTA, guys. I'm your guys' host, Trent Manager. All my returning patrons, welcome. All my new patrons, of course, welcome. And my new viewers, of course, welcome. I'm glad to have you guys here on this Tuesday. So we are hopping into September. All my patrons yesterday, we did a quick little TA video yesterday, kind of going over how we are feeling about the first week of the market cycle into September. We have talked about how September has been a very, very frothy month for not only just stocks, but also for the crypto market in general. And if you guys have seen any price action this morning or anything that has happened this morning, you could kind of understand how we are kind of leaning towards that sentiment, I guess, really out the gates. But of course, we can see how things start to play out as things continue into the month. So really going over to our agenda, we got a lot of different mixes of things going today. We got some videos, we got some readings, we also got some charts we're going to go over as well. So we got all three of the trifectas today, which is always a great day. First, we're going to go over some El Salvador news, Visa going in deeper with their traditional banks overseas, particularly in Brazil. We're going to go over some DeFi news as well, Grayscale and their ETFs and futures trusts, go over some Panama news as well, as we see El Salvador's influence kind of pan over down south a ton. We've talked about it a couple weeks back about the possibility of the high influence of other smaller individuals such as Panama, El Salvador, other regions down there that have continually seen the adoption and want a piece of the pie, and how that's going to benefit their countries. So awesome. That's just our quick overview for the agenda this morning, and let's get into our first reading. I think we're going to start off with El Salvador, just because I think that is today. So today, the 7th of 2021, the Bitcoin laws came into full effect for El Salvador, recognizing the best money and humanity has seen in the real currency. So really breaking this down for all those who haven't really been paying attention, or just maybe just don't care, or just haven't really this is the first time hearing this. We have seen that El Salvador has made a big shift in terms of accommodating Bitcoin for their legal tender. So if you guys remember from government class, just when things continue to develop, especially it's got to go through House, Senate, and so on. This has been an ongoing battle for a very, very long time now. Kind of a lot underneath the rug that hasn't been talked about in terms of their financial system. So the acceptance of legal tender from El Salvador, that doesn't mean, of course, that dollars is going away, or there's no other way in terms of payment. So that's a common misconception, and Bitcoin is just an add-on in terms of legal tender. So if you guys hear anything around government, is that you legally cannot, as a merchant, deny somebody goods and services that is adequate to legal tender. So no one can say no, sorry, I don't accept your Bitcoin here. They have to accept it in terms of payments for goods or services. But of course, that doesn't mean hey, actually I only have dollars, can I pay in dollars? That's completely fine, and there are other means and medians of exchange. So where this has kind of caused a lot of flair and issues is that you see it all the time, not only just with your grandparents but with your parents as well. I can't tell you how many times I've had to go to my grandma's house or had issues to where I've had to fix things technologically. But back on topic, that you can understand that that the change is hard for a lot of individuals. I was talking to my dad about this the other day, is that we were talking about how ticket transfers have become so easy. If you guys remember, you used to have to go drive to the stadium and the customs and go pick up the tickets from the custom box, and then go into the stadium, instead of now you can just send the tickets directly to your phone, and so on and so on. So where I was getting with this is that a lot of the older generation down there, and a lot of the overall age gap down there is very, very skewed in terms of old versus young. So we're seeing a lot of issues of people adapting quickly with the technology change, and they're not understanding the wallet addresses, and there's just a lot of change that's happening, and with change brings a lot of denial, and there's a lot of issues of people revolting and not wanting to do this new payment system, because it's very difficult and it's not something that they want to learn. So that's been another big one down there. And I mean, when you get enough, if your population is overly majority, older individuals who, don't like this, is going to cause a little bit of issues. But, just like everything, change happens consistently. And, that's a Gandhi quote that we talk about all the time, that, first they fight you, or first they laugh at you, then they fight you, then they accept you, and then you win. So that's just a short, swing version of it, and how things are really playing out down there, as really from what I see and learn. So today is the day. It is officially legal tender. That is when the law comes into effect today. So now you go down to El Salvador, they can legally not deny your Bitcoin, and it's a great day to see. It's never thought this would have been possible, especially in this short amount of time, but it is happening, and this is something that is a very, very pat on the back, I believe, for them, as there are still issues and flaws that we got to get out of the way. Nothing critical. Of course, if it was critical, it would have not made it to this point. But with anything new, you're going to have questions and backlash with anything you do. It doesn't matter. We had it with seatbelts. We had it with the internet. We had it with almost anything new. You can think about iPhones were the exact same way as well. So, moving on to Visa. Visa plans to make cryptocurrency services to its traditional banks in Brazil. So love Visa. You use probably Visa every single day. Most people do. Visa's a super house power giant, and whatever they say usually goes. So when they step foot into the ring, mostly everybody in the finance sector and around the world is noticing. And they made a big splash with their integration of USDC a couple months back, about how they were gearing up and having, we talked about it not too long ago, 2 weeks ago, that USDC was going through a SPAC phase, that was most likely going to be the reserve currency for the United States in terms of the digital dollar. So the digital yuan equates to China, and USDC would equivalent to the digital dollar, as to what I'm hearing and kind of what I feel. This has been a gut feeling for mine for quite a while. Of course, this is not set in stone, but I do believe USDC out of Tether and DAI and all those other stable coins that act as a peg to the $1 dollar will ultimately reign supreme. That is just, of course, my thoughts, and we're seeing that unfold kind of every month here. We're seeing USDC and Visa, and not only them, really push that catalyst a lot further. So Visa gears up for the cryptocurrency integration in Brazil. So we know, and this is one thing, I think we talked about it quite a lot also, is that usually we see, not only here in America, but also in other first world countries, some parts of Europe, and I feel like I've talked about this quite a lot, is that the benefits that we see from cryptocurrency are a lot different versus those who are in less fortunate circumstances. So you every day, you wake up, you have a bank account, you have a debit card, you don't have to worry about really, all of our governments have very select issues, but in terms of serious issues and actual life-changing and altering issues, you don't wake up here in America or most parts of Europe and worry that your bank is going to collapse at any moment, or you don't wake up and go to your job and worry about your ADP paycheck or your paycheck somehow becoming invalid because the company that you were working for right then and there just went completely balls under. And those are just some examples that are some real life implementations that people have to deal with. So especially down south, Brazil, Panama, a lot of those other countries that that the IMF has a very, very large control over, the International Monetary Fund. If those who don't know about the IMF, we can cover that a bit later. Maybe we'll have a separate video on that or something. But anyway, back to the main point, is that being in a first world, you may not understand how the power of cryptocurrencies can not only impact your financial life, but also your everyday life. You have individuals who use this every single day, who rely on this for executions of goods and services. The traditional banks have failed them. If you could only imagine Bank of America just said, oops, actually, sorry. We saw that back in I don't know if that was in 1924 correction, or there was one of those big stock market corrections, but there was 70% of Americans living on the street. It was a bunch of shanty towns and shacks. But it's a lot harder to see, the difference, especially when it's not something that is used in your life every day. It's used as a store of value, but versus a lot of these individuals, this is something that is used every day that they need to obtain goods or services. So I wanted to put that out there just because it's hard to differ sometimes, especially when you haven't experienced it firsthand, or you don't know anybody who has it firsthand. And luckily, I've had both experiences. I've been able to travel a lot and also have that connection not only with coworkers, but also project workers I've done in the past. So I definitely want to lay that out there just to say, if you want to really expand your horizon and think differently, put yourself in their shoes in a less world country and really see what it's like to govern your finance. It's a lot different when you start to really get that expansion view. So kind of got off topic there for a minute, but I know it's going to connect back to this article and how this is really going to be a better connection. So the inclusion of direct Bitcoin payments will facilitate the payment process and eliminate these intermediates. In March, the CEO of Visa Brazil stated that it expects implementations in this functionality sometimes this year, stating that their NFT Innovation is in the works. Brazil Visa has also jumped to the NFT bandwagon by purchasing CryptoPunk digital avatar on Ethereum network for 165k Ether in August. So, we already knew Brazil had been doing, NFT purchases. We did cover that in one video. So, closing this up, conclusions. Visa's here. They're a powerhouse. So, if you're going to follow any sort of news or follow the money, Visa is going to be those people. Of course, I always advise people to do their own research, but if you want something to follow the money and people or companies and enterprises that are going to be not only leading the way, but really showing what's going on, it's going to be Visa. You use Visa products every day, and those are probably the top tier. That's one of the top tier individuals I'm going to listen to in terms of when they say something is going to be Visa. So I take their opinion pretty heavily about what they do, just because they have been a global primary foster for quite a while now. So awesome. We're going to actually hop into this YouTube video with Grayscale CEO. We're actually going to skip forward. We don't need to watch all this. So I just want the ETF part. We'll start from the El Salvador because they actually had some really good things we got to say. So we're gonna go from about 3 minutes and 30 seconds to about like 5 minutes. So.
That remittances are 23% of GDP. Why they're doing this is that remittances are 23% of GDP, which is one of the highest ratios in the world. And there are a lot of other emerging markets that suffer the same thing. So a lot of the remittances come from the U.S. go to El Salvador. You're working hard here, you want to send your money back to your family in El Salvador, whatever country you're paying fees to transfer that money, you lose it. And so that's why BTC is seen as a solution. But how much of what El Salvador is doing will be a litmus test, will be sort of, what the world watches in terms of whether or not this can be pulled off?
Well, I think it's certainly early days. I think today is the first day that it's legal tender. And certainly if you know anything about the community that is around Bitcoin, it carries a lot of momentum. So we would not be surprised to see knock-on effects either into other countries undergoing the same exploration, or also kind of seeing the social aspect of seeing El Salvadorians begin to use Bitcoin as a remittance mechanism that then causes other folks in their network to think about using it as well.
Hey, Michael, I got two quick questions for you. One is that you mentioned you've been working with the SEC, and you've been working with the SEC now for many years to try to get this flagship fund up officially as a widely available ETF. What do you think right now, if you could take us behind the scenes, is the single gating factor?
Well, I think the SEC has been pretty public about this. They've looked at the underlying Bitcoin market and had previously said that there was not enough surveillance of the spot market for Bitcoin, and they wanted to see surveillance sharing agreements in place. And they also wanted to see significant regulated markets. And again, perhaps going off of Chairman Gensler's commentary, it signals perhaps that some of those previous concerns are now being resolved.
So, yeah, that's a good stop. I mean, of course, we've had similar discussions about this and the implementation of ETFs and so on. I mean, they've been talking about this for many, many years. And it really just seems like maybe it's because I'm in it every day, but I know a lot of you guys are starting to transition into it a lot. But it seems like I'm repeating a lot, and that's what I've really noticed in my live streams is that I feel like I'm repeating a lot, but then also it really is education. Like, our biggest barrier to entry in this space is education. It really is astonishing still just how little individuals know. Like, that's why I also advise you guys as well to, if you watch these live streams, any information you take from here, apply that into your daily lives. If you ever get in a conversation with somebody about this, or any time the topic comes up, or if you're migrating into this space full time for work or whatever you want to do, if this is something you want to do, it's education. That is our biggest barrier to entry. And you even just being here 3 months, 4 months, and I've said this also 5 months, it doesn't matter, less than a year, your information and what you've learned compared to somebody who's been here 2 weeks or a month is going to be astronomical compared to what you know. And it may not even seem like you've been here a while, but just to give some food for thought, that just because you've been here a short time, or you may not feel confident about what you're talking about or what you're saying, but it may seem like it's just like, oh, I don't know a lot, but then when you go talk to somebody who maybe have just gotten here, you may look like the underlying genius of the entire conversation. So just don't let your time in here like put you away and think that you can't like speak on things, because that's just not true at all. Because this is all fairly new to everybody. I think of like the whole world global adoption. I saw like this statistic. It was like less than 1% of the entire world is like exposed. It was like 0.03% of the world like owns NFTs, and like it was like No, I think it might be like one. It's like 1 in every 4 people right now, maybe 1 in every 5. I think it might be more than that. I'll have to go back and check my statistics about like actually even owning any cryptocurrency. So I thought that was really, really impressive. So going into the DeFi week, we're going to start covering this a little bit more often. I always like to hop into the weekly newsletters for DeFi and see how we are doing. So going back to the top, we're going to talk about Arbitrum. Actually, we got a lot of layer 2 solutions actually over here that we will get to in a minute. Implementing, we've talked about layer 2s, about how much easier it does on scalability in terms of making our fees cheaper, faster, and overall more reliable on the blockchain. Those who have used MetaMask or any other software for sending or receiving cryptocurrency, you know that if you catch Ethereum at the prime hours or you find it at lower hours, it can really be the difference between night and day, and that's something that we are continually working on, of course, as things continue to get better. MetaMask revealed that they have now opened up to 10 million monthly users, employing the world's popular web wallet, a massive jump from 1 million in October of 2020. That's pretty crazy, going from 1 million to 10 million in just about a year. That's pretty awesome. If you guys don't know what MetaMask, this is Lily MetaMask up here. It's a desktop wallet extension. It's amazing. I love MetaMask, use it every single day. Going down to Phantom Blockchain, star of DeFi developers. I actually do not know much about Phantom, but a rewards program intending to distribute 370 million FTM to users. DeFi protocols set up Phantom, pioneering a new encryptive structure designed to more effectively reward protocols within the ecosystem, and also based on TVL, and developers decide of how rewards are passed to individual users. So we're seeing a lot of, I noticed we're seeing a lot of, I saw a tweet the other day, actually, I should have favorited it. It was, it said, communities are now becoming the new companies. And I was like, that's pretty interesting, because if you really do think about it, like a lot of these communities, the Ethereum community, Bitcoin community, Uniswap community, a lot of these larger communities, especially these large, any project that's living on the blockchain has a very, very strong community. There are things that you can do, not only work wise but community wise, that can sustain you for a very, very for a good amount of time, or if not indefinitely. I can't tell you the amount of times of I don't know how long ago some of you guys have been here, but if you guys remember the Uniswap airdrop, like that was a pretty significant airdrop. If you got 1,000 Uni tokens for free, and then Uniswap is now trading at like $35, that's pretty crazy. So we're seeing a lot of, especially in DeFi, like that's why it's decentralized finance. I'm a firm believer that one day you're not going to need to even go to a AAA title bank to utilize your career, loans, credit. It can all be handled identically on here, community based, with trust and transparency, through all the tools and frameworks that we have available. So that's of course the future as to what I think. So, and also kind of wrapping up here, kind of just goes through Avalanche as well. I don't know too much about Avalanche as well, which is I don't have enough to speak on it just right now. But overall, just really wanted to kind of give a shot in DeFi news and show that Arbitrum is really taking over, and things are continuing to develop. So, and also a quick Twitter update also with our guys from Panama. Implementing their crypto assets. Today, we present the crypto law. We seek and make Panama a country compatible with blockchains, crypto assets, and the internet. This has potential and create thousands of jobs to attract investments and make the government more transparent. So that's always a good thing. That was a good thing. I mean, they're following exactly right behind El Salvador. Panama and El Salvador are right next to each other. They're right pretty much in the same region. So, we're seeing the narrative continue. We'll see how El Salvador keeps doing. But ultimately, if El Salvador continues what they're doing and things continue positive, I don't see why you're not going to see a kick up of a lot of this local adoption from surrounding countries as well. So we will definitely watch out and see, and we will kind of just see how the cards play out as well. So this was by BlockWorks. So good things to keep in mind. Just always really good things to keep in mind. So L2 Beats as well. Going to look at some layer 2 Arbitrum solutions and some layer 2 Arbitrums. We're going to look at some layer 2 solutions and see how things are going. ZKR technology, VAL. We haven't covered too much of the ZKL and rollups technology. That's a little bit more deep on the technical side, but if that's something we could definitely buff up if needed. So what we're seeing right now is just the finance risk for the projects. L2 solutions we talked about plenty of times. This is just going to make your user experience a lot better. in terms of fee scalabilities, block size rewards, and just overall how quickly you're going to get your transactions. I know Ethereum fees can be absolutely crazy, and not only just with Ethereum fees, but other fees, other chains have fees much less than Ethereum. But a good thing to remember on that is that we call it the developer triangle. I don't have an image up right now, but I believe it might be in the Patreon, but I'll put one up extra just in case today. So the big trilemma between the developer triangle is usually the fight between scalability, security, and decentralization. So usually when you give up one, you've got to give up a lot more of the other. So would you rather have a chain that's more decentralized with better security, but low scalability, or would you rather trade off another example would be like, would you rather trade off scalability and security for decentralization? It's a very hard trilemma triangle that's very hard to attach. So right now, as we continue in these really early stages, I can't explain how early we are, not only just in the development side, but just the overall just growing ecosystem in general, is that that's just one thing on the developer side that you can notice. So with Binance Smart Chain, for example, what makes Binance Smart Chain so cheap is that they can cut back on their decentralization and up their scalability. So and that's what makes the fee so much lower. So the thing with of course Ethereum is not perfect, but what Ethereum does really well is that not only just with its layer 2 solutions, but with its overall not scalability, but with its overall security and decentralization, that's what they chose to prompt up, and they chose to actually lower the scalability to keep the decentralization and security. So it really is a trade-off, and at some points you have to decide for yourself what is more what's better for you. If you like the project but it's missing one of those key trilemma triangle effects, if that's something that is okay with you, then that's fine, but it really is all preference on what you think is comfortable with you for your investment. So that's just something I really wanted to kind of throw out there, just because that was a common question I was getting as we continue to move on. So awesome. So we are all wrapped up for our readings and videos for today. So we're actually going to end on charts today, and we're going to see how we are doing. So if you guys were paying attention this morning, we did have some pretty crazy price action this morning. So we look at that look at that candle wick. Wow, look at that thing all the way back down to our level 3 for the quick test. So we had a quick break. So what I'm going to say on this is that we don't focus on day to day. This is not anything that we focus on at all. Like, I don't look at charts every day and worrying about every single day about what price action brings. It's really month by month, year by year. This is a long outlook for my investments. That's what, of course you guys know that's what investments are. And this is something that, it feels like I gotta not really re-explain it at all, because you guys do understand that this is a long-term game. But just for those who are new or who are stopping in and, maybe you're just getting the first rodeo for this, it's very easy to fall into emotions and have emotions really take over in this market, especially cryptocurrency. Like this is crack. It's pretty crazy sometimes. So going and looking at where we are on the Ethereum US dollar, the valuation, we're sitting about 3,500. By no any means is this okay. We talked about this actually yesterday. We had a TA video in the Patreon. Some my Patreon guys can attest to this. We hopped on, looked at Ethereum, Bitcoin, and saw where we are. We knew that September is a very bearish month for stocks and crypto. We, of course, don't like to make those assumptions, but off historical data, it has proven to be, and we talked about that yesterday. And we knew that May was actually a historically bad month also, but it ended up being green. So what we're seeing now is that some metrics are being invalidated, some historical patterns are being broken, and there's some open water that definitely needs to be covered. So where I think we're sitting right now, completely fine. We talked about a pullback happening, of course, all the time. We knew if you guys see the move that we just had, we talked about our 12 green candles. We also talked about our rally from 3,000 to pretty much all we touched 4,000 for probably like 3 seconds. But overall, this is a good entry, and again, this is a good re-entry for anybody who has some extra dollars laying around. Of course, it's good. I think Ethereum's down like 9-10% today. Bitcoin as well, I think down like 10% as well. So overall, where I think we're sitting just fine. We will see how this plays out. Let the sentiment settle, and we will see how things continue to go. So same thing with Bitcoin. For how bad, or not really, not how bad, for how sharply Bitcoin dropped and how quickly things unfolded, Ethereum held up pretty well. We saw Ethereum kind of decouple from Bitcoin for a little while, and we see often that if Bitcoin isn't doing well, nothing's doing well, and we know that for a fact. So that's why if you like any alts, or any altcoins, if you like any other projects, that you should be praying for Bitcoin to be doing well, because when Bitcoin is not doing well, everything is dropping. When Bitcoin is ranging sideways, that is the time for Ethereum and other alts to shine. And when Ethereum and Bitcoin are ranging sideways, that's where we can really see alts and other coins start to really get some love. So ultimately, if you want things to continue to go up and shine, we definitely need to vote on Bitcoin and have her do well. So we're sitting actually just a little bit below our key EMA line. So what I say here, just like we said a little bit yesterday, that it's okay that we go down behind it. Our video's up in the Patreon, so you can go back and look how we talked about that. Nothing wrong with the correction, just like we're seeing right now. So this is something that we will continue to monitor and watch, but this is not something that you should throw in the towel and continue to walk away from this space if that was the idea. Just like, let's go back in history just for a second, just in case any of us forgot what this market cycle can do to us. So just going back to 40%. Let's see, let's go 27%, 25%, 11%. Here, let's see if we got any. Let's do even more recent one. I don't know if this one's nearly as bad. 12%. So if you just when in doubt, zoom out. I mean, I don't really feel like I need to explain this often, but I get a lot of questions often, so this is something I feel like I need to a lot of the time, and I have no problem doing it, because it's just human nature. It's emotional human nature, especially when you see hard-earned money or things that are of value to you continue to plummet or have corrections like this. So stay safe. Just follow your game plan like I've been doing, and things will just fall out, and we'll continue to monitor this as things continue to unfold. But other than that, guys, that is it. That is all for today. That's that's pretty much that's all I had for today on Tuesday. Like, subscribe, share, anything that was helpful for you today, and of course I will see you guys on Thursday, and we'll be bringing some videos throughout the week as well. I know we got a short week this week too. So we'll be going over the schedule and seeing how things will be wrapping up for the rest of the week. Awesome, guys. Thanks so much. I will see you guys on Thursday.